What's going on, everybody? This is the comments section, number 14. Wow, amazing. Okay, up first we have a Gary Lagstrom update. Two emails to read. So first, Gary's surgery update. The surgery went fine. Gary is groggy and in pain. He was on fentanyl in the surgery and then morphine, and now take home oxycodone. However you say that word, oxy, whatever. I thought it was like Oxycontin. Are these two different drugs? I'm not into any of this stuff. I know that this is a specific reason for taking these things, right? Which I suppose I probably would also. I guess, I don't know. I don't know. But yeah, all that stuff, all bad. Doctor said he will be in recovery mode for 4 to 6 months, and his job is providing his salary in full during the recovery period, which is freaking amazing, and I'm jealous about that part. There's nothing to be jealous about in this whole entire situation. It all sounds terrible. Full use of the arm will take up to 2 years. That is bad, right? That sucks. I mean, I guess there's an exclamation point after that sentence, so maybe that's a good thing, right? But yeah, that sucks. Thanks everyone for your kind words, thoughts, and prayers. We love the Rush community. Justin, please share this with your Rush community in the comments section for people to hear. All the best, sincerely, the Lagstrom family. Cool. Okay, and then I got a second one. Oh yeah, this is all, these people sending me their dream. Now I'm just going to get emails of people's dreams now. Gary's surgery dream. Perfect. Gary had this dream when he was under the anesthesia and surgery. Picture all three guys in Rush. First, the pics of them around A Farewell to King's time frame. Now imagine first Geddy by himself smiling and saying his name, and then pointing up to his left, and the following words appear: bass guitars, Oberheim polyphonic OBX, Mini Moog, and Taurus pedal synthesizers, vocals. Imagine Geddy smiling now and crossing arms. Also, his wife is writing all this. This is like incredible, right? Jeez. I think my wife would do the same thing, actually. Now imagine Alex by himself smiling and saying his name and then pointing up to his left, and the following words appear: 6 and 12 string electric and acoustic guitars, Taurus pedals. Imagine Alex smiling now and crossing his arms. Now imagine Neil by himself smiling and saying his name, then pointing up to his left, and the following words appear: drum kit, timbales, gong, bass drums, orchestra, bells, glockenspiel, wind chimes, bell, tree, cortales. What is that? That's that thing that I was wondering about that was on the top. I was like, what is that? And I thought they were ducks or something, like rubber duckies or something. Cortales, cowbells, triangles, plywood, timpani, and symphonic chimes. Now imagine Neil smiling and crossing his arms. If you watch the Super Bowl each year and know how they introduce the players and show them, I don't, but okay. Introduce the players and show them as individuals, staying their name, college, or high school, and position this the frame of reference for the dream. Gary wanted me to share this with you and your Rush community. Okay, cool. Wow, amazing. All right, so Gary's going to be fine, and it looks like he's got a sweet job that takes care of him, which is pretty great. All right, up next, from the comments section, number 8, Mike8528, what's happening? I'm surprised how much I am enjoying these comment section videos. I like to read the comments, but there are so many gems I've missed. Yeah, seriously, and now I think about, I'm like, damn, I'll never run out of material because I can always just go back to old videos and pull comments if I really want to. I don't think I'm ever going to need to, but I wish I did this earlier. There's a lot of things that I wish I did, but, there's also things that I'm thinking about doing, and, all kinds. I mean, the road map is kind of like, there's all kinds of directions I can go. So I'll be figuring that out. I figure it all out as I go anyway, so it's what it is. Then it'll just be a little bit more open when I'm not tied to this thing that I committed to myself, which will remain nameless. Okay. Then there's also the opportunity for you to expound on, clarify various comments, feedback you've previously made. It takes reactions a step further and kind of makes it a dialogue, which is pretty cool. Yeah, absolutely. Totally agree. And that is the cool part. On the Hold Your Fire bass sound and experimenting, I think that is part of the nature of a progressive band. If they stop experimenting, are they still really progressive? When they play the songs live later, you get an idea of what they have come to feel works best, I think. But yeah, mistakes are made, and I am not making excuses for Hold Your Fire. It really stands out as the odd duck in their discography. Yeah, that and Test for Echo. Actually, I started playing with this band recently, and I was talking to the drummer last night, and he was asking me, you know, like, what do you listen to? What have you been listening to? What'd you grow up with? All this kind of stuff. And I was telling him, and I didn't mention Rush at all, but he brought up Rush. We were talking about, I forget exactly what we were talking about in terms of like specifically what bands we were discussing and bringing up. I think we were talking about metal or something like that. And I think I asked if there was any progressive rock that he was into, like, at all, and I mentioned that I went through a Dream Theater phase, and he brought up Rush. He's like, yeah, like, I'm not really into Rush, and I was like, oh, I know something about this band now. I was like, and of course it, you know, gave me way of, you know, I started explaining my journey a bit with the band of like, yeah, when I was younger, I didn't listen to them at all either. I wasn't into Geddy's voice, so I just didn't check them out. Also, you should probably listen to Permanent Waves. It's one of the best rock albums of all time, period. You should probably listen to that. You should probably check that out. It might be a good idea to check that out. But the song that he brought up was that he said he liked was Time Stands Still. And I was like, you know what? I don't think I belong in this band anymore. I was like, you know what? I don't think I belong in this band anymore. One of us has to go. I didn't really say that. But I was just like, oh my God. Yeah, okay, it's fine. It's fine. He was all like, Amy Mann, Till Tuesday. You know, like, most people don't know it's Amy Mann. You know, I was like, yeah, cool, buddy. Great. I'm over here talking about Permanent Waves. You talking about Amy Mann, bro. Okay, anyways. So, okay, cool. All right. The Tragically Hip Nautical Disaster. Yard 9333, what's happening? Through your channel and the requests has introduced me to these guys, and They Might Be Giants. Both great bands that I am digging more into. Thanks. Absolutely. Yeah, Tragically Hip. Amazing. Todd sent for even more Tragically Hip, so that's going to be coming, which is pretty cool. Even more Tragically Hip coming your way at some point. Be on the lookout for that. All right. Here's another, this is from the comment section number 10, Gary Lagstrom, right? Michelle here with an update. First, thank you for sharing with your Rush community our plight. Second, no need to do a GoFundMe as Gary's work has already done that. He's a data analyst for a progressive insurance company. Hey, buddy, thanks for my hurricane payout. Because I'm sure you saw that. I'm with Progressive. Also, you're a data analyst. That pays a lot of money. I've been looking into that because, you know, I do music. You know about that. I'm sure you know about that. Wow, that's incredible. Yeah, that's cool about your job. Third, thanks for showing Kitty Ho for Gary. I think he loves her more than our male tuxedo cat Jinx. Finally, Gary has, yeah, well, I mean, that's probably because you have to live with Jinx. You don't have to live with Kitty, our cat. And if you did, you might feel the opposite way. You might be like, you know what? I'll take Jinx back. Or, you know what? Let's get a dog. That's how I feel sometimes. I'm like, you know what? Oh, God. I mean, she's great, but then, you know, when they're not great, they're not great. And it's just like, can you just freaking leave me alone? Can you stop scratching all this stuff at 5 in the morning? Can you just stop running around like a freaking pony? Like, what's going on? Does anybody else's cat do that? They run, like, it sounds like she's trotting. But it's fast, all right? Anyways. Okay, yes, there are lizards and frogs outside. We get it. Okay. Finally, Gary has surgery on Wednesday. Please pray for him and us, as no surgery is strictly routine. Right. So, and we already just got the update for that. So, amazing, fantastic. Glad that it went well. Comment section 11, Brett King 1014. What's going on? Here's my reaction to your reaction to our reactions to your reactions. Can't believe I'm commenting on a comment section. You better believe it. You can divide Rush fans into 3 categories. Oh, Jesus. Here we go. Metalheads, normies, and sophisticates. Sophisticats? 1. Metalheads. They only like the 70s Rush. It's the heaviest Rush, and they're also likely Sabbath, Maiden, and Priest fans. Heaviest Rush? Counterparts? Even some of what I've been hearing. I mean, when this comes out, we're in the middle of Clockwork Angels. I mean, there's some heavy stuff in their later years, right? I get what you're saying, but it's a different kind of heavy, right? Grunge is kind of heavy, right? It's different. Okay. 2. Normies. These are the Spirit of Radio to Subdivision fans. They're likely Bon Jovi and Aerosmith type of fans. The later years, Permanent Vacation onwards. Okay. Aerosmith, another rock band that I know some of, didn't have the albums, didn't grow up with them, didn't. Didn't. Okay. Sophisticates, I don't know how to say this. I've never seen that word before. Anyways, of which I am obviously a member, right? Of course. These are always the most favorable position, right? When speaking of yourself. Makes sense. These are the fans who like Grace Under Pressure onwards. Oh, geez. It's still musically and lyrically sophisticated, but not stereotyped and pigeonholed by current trends. These are the fans who like Grace Under Pressure onwards. It's still musically and lyrically sophisticated. This is the point that I'm hung up on. But not stereotyped and pigeonholed by current trends. You would say that Hold Your Fire is not current trend. You would say Power Windows is not current trend. 1985? I don't know about that. I'm not sure about that. I might push back on that. These later albums are what makes them progressive, not 2112. Oh boy. I don't know if I agree with that. Don't know. There I said it. Have at it, everyone. There you go. So you know what you're doing. Yeah, I don't know. I don't think I... Nah. Number 3, I'm going to say no. I'm going to say no about that. Okay. Anyways, that's interesting. You guys have at it. This is the I'm the facilitator of conversation. Here we go, right? Okay, Rush Subdivision's Time Machine Tour. Michael Keller, 6223. What's going on? I know this seems kind of crazy, but on the R40 tour, every time they play a song, it was the last time that they played that song live. Yes, thank you. Because I was saying, oh, this is the last. Oh, when it like dawned on me, I was like, oh my God, I can't believe. Oh wow, yeah. Anyways, okay. I don't know what video this is to, but Coco Bubenstein, really love your comments section. If you can, at some point, can you discuss the difference in some of the basses Geddy uses? Like what makes them different other than appearance, of course. Also sound, of course. Right? Sound. That's really the most important thing in terms of the listener. That was stupid. You know what I'm saying, right? Sound matters to the listener. Duh. Right? Okay? But that's like ultimately, just think of it from a player's perspective. That's probably number 1. And then you're going to go into things like how much does it weigh? Because that kind of matters. You see, he's not going for that double neck in later years, right? When I'm playing a ton of gigs, I mean, I have a few basses. I have this vintage bass over here, which is gorgeous. Sounds freaking fantastic. It's probably the best sounding bass that I have. That and the MTD. Best sounding basses that I have. But yet, if I'm playing a ton of gigs, I'm going with the black Fender Aerodyne because it's lighter. It still sounds great. I could get it to sound almost as good as the vintage bass. Almost, not as, but if that's what you're getting, you're still going to be like, oh, he sounds great. This is great sounding. My rig sounds great. Everything sounds great, right? And that matters. Totally matters. So, and there's a lot of components that go into that. But anyways, so sound, right? The Rickenbacker was really gritty, super gritty. Then, you know, he was playing some jazz basses in the studio, right? Jazz basses to me are just like fantastic, overall, well-rounded. You can do so much. You could cover a ton of ground with it. You could play all kinds of genres. You can just do damn near anything with it, right? He played the wall bass, which I don't like how that sounds, how he uses it and how it sounds. No. He uses that Steinberger. I actually think that sounds pretty good. I'm like, this sounds good. It just looks weird. It takes a little bit of getting used to. But I would totally, I don't own one of those. I've never played one. I totally would. I totally, like, just for the sound of it. Yeah, absolutely. I would go for that. That sounds good to me. And then the jazz basses, right? I mean, that's basically what he's, am I missing one? Am I missing anything? I know that he owns a zillion, okay, I have the book over here. I know that he owns a zillion basses, but what is he really using? And I'm not talking about R40 where he brings out a bass every song, which may be cool for 2 seconds for me, but I'm just so not, that's like a guitar player thing. And also, like, I don't know, I don't know. I'm like, yo, just get that black 72 Fender jazz bass and play all the damn songs. Like, that's all you need. It's not going to sound that much different, especially if he's going from jazz bass to jazz bass to jazz bass. I mean, I haven't done R40 yet, but I'm interested in those kinds of things. Maybe I'll talk about that if I remember. I'm sure I'll remember. And if I notice in any kind of way where it's like, oh, see, this one sounds different in this kind of way. But I don't know. Unless he's going from, if they're all just jazz basses, they're just swapping out for different colors and different years. I'm going to be like, you know what? Why? Just because it's a visual thing for other people and it is your last time to really bring these things out for work? Okay, fine. Anyways, like, what is that all I gotta say about this? Like, what makes them different other than appearance, of course? Yeah, I mean, that's what it is to me. Sound is definitely most important. Okay. Rush Limelight Time Machine Tour, Seth Cashman 10-11. What's happening? The vocals are more like Lemon Light. Shit, that is fantastic. Okay, see, I think I did a good job of, like, not, I know I gave faces. There were definitely some points where I gave faces of, like, but I think I did all right, right? And I think I said when I thought that he sounded better than I expected, frankly. That's really what it was. I thought he sounded better than I expected. Okay, Rush YYZ Time Machine Tour. Biggie 25X, what's happening? Okay, so maybe I'm missing it, but what are your favorite bands? Why do you like them? You're on a Rush journey, so how do they rate in your favorites? I think you should do a video, and pardon if you already did, about what you like, etc. Thanks, another great reaction. Okay, so how long do we have? Do I have favorites? I've talked a little bit in past videos about, like, I don't think of it like that way. To me, like, my all-time favorite band, that was more a thing when I was, like, in high school and, like, maybe in my early 20s or something like that. But especially now, it's just like there's so much music. They're all for different reasons. It's like, okay, right now, no different than you guys talk about how when I was younger, I was really into this Rush. But then as I got older, I really like this album. And I really, like, as time goes on, you're liking different albums for different reasons because you're in a different place in life and just how you're thinking is different. And, it just suits you in different situations. Music, to me, in general, in the broader scope, is no different, right? So it's like, when I was growing up, my dad was listening to Hendrix and Zeppelin and Doobie Brothers and Toto and Jefferson Starship and shit like that. So I was listening to that stuff and the Rascals. And then, what else was I into? I was playing in concert band, in bands in school. So, like, concert band stuff, right? And then I got into high school and I found Rage Against the Machine, which is actually the reason why I play bass. And that's only because I was already playing saxophone. I was already playing music. Right, when I was in grade school, I started playing music when I was 8, okay? I played saxophone, but I wasn't really crazy about. I knew I liked music, but I wasn't really crazy about sax. That wasn't my instrument. It's just that was what was available and what I knew about. And then I heard Rage Against the Machine, and so many of their intros, so many of their songs start with the bass. So I really heard the bass, like really just in a way where I was like, what is that? That's cool. I want to play that. So that's why I started playing bass. And then also my dad, who had a guitar and was a guitar player when he was younger, told me to play the bass, you'll always have work, which is accurate. It's pretty much accurate. Right? So, and I also just like the bass. I like the bass better than the guitar. Guitar to me, while I do like guitar and guitar players, it's kind of a bastard instrument. It never stays into, it's just all that kind of stuff. To me, it's got the B string. No. I like the bass. I can play the bass. I can play the shit out of the bass. I like the bass. That's my instrument. I like playing in bands. That's what I like to do. I like bands. I like singer-songwriters. I like, artists like that. So when I got into high school, yeah, it was like Rage Against the Machine. I was already into Nirvana in grade school, and Soundgarden and Marilyn Manson and Nine Inch Nails I was into in grade school. I loved Pretty Hate Machine. That was an awesome record. Then I remember, I've told this story before actually. Let me get it. I think I was 14 or 15. I was walking down the road, my street or whatever that I lived on, and I found this on the ground. Like this, right? This way, on the ground. Obviously, I know what it is. Oh, I was into like 311. I remember, now I'm thinking about different memories are coming back. I was into 311. So I found this on the ground, and I picked it up, and I saw this. And I brought it home, and I knew about this band because I used to play soccer, and we were at a practice, and there was an older kid that was wearing a Pantera t-shirt, and I made fun of him for it. I was joking around about how stupid that is, because I think I don't know what the shirt was, but there was probably an animal that wasn't a panther or what. I was just kids, right, grade school kids. So I knew about them, but I didn't listen to them or have access or any of that. I didn't know. So I found this literal disc on the ground, and I brought it home, and I played it, and the first track, and I was like, what is this? This is incredible. And I think only the first 6 or so tracks played, and then it just, you see it. It's all jacked up, right? But I kept it. So I was super into Pantera, and I think my parents had Black Sabbath Paranoid on vinyl, which I still have. So I was into that. I really got into Deftones, right? This is where Deftones, Korn, Limp Bizkit, those groups, Creed, these groups got huge at that time. Of those bands, I was into Korn. I was never as much into Limp Bizkit, and Deftones, out of all of them, I was super into. Still, Deftones are fantastic. Deftones are really cool. Love that band. That, to me, I saw them in Pomona, I don't know, 5 or 6 years ago, and I'm just like, man, that's the best job in the world. Playing in Deftones, that's the best job in the world. That shit is amazing. The songs are great. It looks like a ton of fun. That's the best job in the world, of playing for the Deftones. So I got into them, and then I got into Dream Theater. I got into jazz stuff, basic. We're talking Miles Davis. I got into Tower of Power a little bit. Once I started playing bass, then it was Jocko. Yeah, all the bass player stuff, all those guys, solo bass players, stuff like Victor Wooten, Show of Hands, when that shit came out, I was just like, what the? That's basically when I knew I didn't want to be a solo bass player. While I think it's amazing, and I thought it was just sick, just this is incredible, I like bands. I got into Sepultura, Slayer, other metal bands, stuff like that. Ozzy, Metallica, some Megadeth, but more so early Metallica. But also, I never wanted to play in a metal band. Like, I never had any interest in playing in a metal band, even though I liked some metal, right? I don't know. I liked it more for the energy and the aggression and the songs and the sound and the feel, but not like, you know, Rex Brown is cool and all, but Dimebag Darrell's where it's at, and like Phil Anselmo's where it's, and you know, the drums, like all that. To me, I wasn't trying to be a metal bass player specifically. I mean, I would play in a metal band, you know, but, and then when I went to college, I got super into that, like opened up a ton of stuff. Oh, also I was into like in high school, I was into like Wu-Tang Clan and Notorious B.I.G. I got Tupac's records, but I'm really not into West Coast. I'm not really into West Coast rap. No, I'm more into like Jay-Z, like like New York, or Outkast. Yeah, I'm more into that than the West Coast stuff. I just wasn't crazy about. Like, it can be cool, okay, Dr. Dre, Snoop Dogg, but even though I had Tupac's records, that's what told me I wasn't into it, because like just how he phrases stuff and it's like a little singy or whatever. Nah, just not for me. Not for me. And then I got to college, it opened up a ton of new music. So much music. That was like the big thing about college to me. I went to Berkeley, so like a music school. All these people from all around the world are all just there, and they have all their music, and it was really a big getting music from all directions, all different kinds of music. Stuff that I would never be exposed to any other way unless I, you know, just insane. Bob Marley, all the jazz, super intense amounts of jazz and R&B and soul music. Stevie Wonder, easily one of my favorite artists, period. It was around this time that then I got into the Beatles and Radiohead, and I didn't get into David Bowie until after college. Yeah, tons of jazz, Blue Note jazz, ECM jazz. I like Blue Note. I prefer Blue Note, but I listen to it all, you know. I mean, I've listened to a ton of freaking music, like an intense amount of music, but classic rock and rock. I didn't get into Zeppelin or Rolling Stones until I moved to LA. Like, I listened to Zeppelin, but I didn't listen to most of their records. I listened to like a couple of their, I had Led Zeppelin 4 growing up. That's about it. So it wasn't until way later that I really listened to the rest of their records. Even then, I'm sure there are songs that I missed, you know, albums and like gaps. I'm sure that there's gaps. I didn't listen to Pink Floyd. I didn't listen to Deep Purple. I didn't listen to Aerosmith, you know, like in terms of records. Okay, I've heard stuff that's on MTV and on the radio and stuff like that, but I didn't have their records. I'm into a lot of different kinds of music. I can find anything. You know, I started checking out when I moved to Florida. There's a ton of country stuff out here. First band that I joined down here is a country band, but like an outlaw country band. So we played Waylon Jennings, David Allan Coe, Merle Haggard, Hank Williams Jr., Hank Williams. And I like some of that stuff too. Yeah, I dig it. So I'm into a lot of different kinds of music. Like a lot of stuff. What do I listen to? Like on my own? Probably not that much. Because I'm listening to stuff constantly, whether it's for learning new material for a band that I'm joining or in or whatever. All of this stuff, I'm constantly listening to music. I don't always have time to check out new stuff. And also with requests, I'm listening to new stuff. You know, it's constantly hearing new, different stuff. So it's all good. It's all good. There it is. All right. Comment section number 13. Thank you. I'll catch you in the next video.